LifeInDecibel here, beautiful 82-degree afternoon, off of work, and I'm going to pick up Crisis 2 for my PlayStation 3, and I thought I'd do a vlog. Now, I was not originally going to do this vlog, but I know that because Toast to Go had already done a vlog about motorcycle safety, riding tips and stuff, but I figured I would do one mainly because there's been a lot of people in Texas dying in the last 2 weeks on their motorcycles. Lots of accidents, lots of people, you know, riders involving themselves and just themselves, riders with cars, and just all kinds of disasters, and the deaths have been horrific. One rider had flown off of an overpass, and he fell like 80 feet to his death, and it's just, he was wearing helmet and gear and he still died. So I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, gear's great, it's not going to save your life, you know, I mean it can, but the ultimate thing that's going to save your life is you and your awareness, and the way you ride, and the measures you take to be safe. So with, you know, so I don't continue rambling on more and more. There's just some things. What the fuck is going on here? See, here's one thing. People just, they don't pay attention to lane changes, and it's anyways, gear. I'm going to start with gear because it's simple. Make sure you wear all your gear: helmet, jacket with armor. If you can, I highly recommend getting an extra back protector, because most safety coats don't come with that. So I highly recommend that. Look at this guy, he's like, fuck this guy on a motorcycle. Really? So I highly recommend getting, you know, an extra back protector, you know, because although gear isn't end-all be-all of safety, it is a major part of it. You want to get proper footwear, whether it be riding shoes or boots. Cover the ankle, make sure it's the kind that's got some sort of protection, so if you slide, you're not going to have issues with your foot scraping against the ground and losing toes. You also wanted to make sure that it stays on your feet, so you don't lose your feet, you know, due to a slide or ending up in the air. Tennis shoes ain't going to cut it. You want gloves, good gloves that are going to have armor in it, and you know, full fingered, none of this half fingered stuff. I know some riders like to, you know, because it gets hot, especially in Texas, they like to ride with gloves that are not armored and everything. But I mean, you want to take all the necessary precautions. Okay, brand doesn't necessarily matter as long as it's got good reviews and it's got the appropriate armor and it fits right. That's another thing that's important. You get something too big, it's too small, it's not going to fit right, and it's not going to protect you the way it should. As far as pants go, you can get armored pants, riding pants. That can be expensive, and a lot of guys wear jeans. They even make jeans with armor in them, if you believe it or not. But yeah, definitely, you know, save up and get the gear. Be smart about that. Now, as far as riding goes, you know, always make sure that you have the appropriate tire pressure in your tires, because if you're underflated or overflated, it could cause you problems. Increased chance of blowout, getting a nail or something in there, cause your tire to go flat, causing an issue where your tire will slide out under you if it's underinflated and you're trying to lean into a turn or a curve. Definitely check to make sure your tires are good. Before you go out and ride, check your turn signals. Make sure your turn signals all function. There's the popo. You want to make sure that your turn signals function, so you can make sure that the other riders, other drivers, people on the road with you know where you're going. If you intend to turn, use them and make sure they function. Also, you gotta watch. You gotta have the mentality that everyone's out to kill you, and by having that mentality, you want to do your best to give yourself a space cushion between you and other vehicles on the road, be it cars, motorcycles. You want to make sure that if something happens and you need to stop quickly or change lanes or swerve, you have that opportunity, and you're not going to end up in the back of somebody else's vehicle. Also, besides that, you need to look around. When I say that everyone's out to kill me, I look around. I make sure, check my mirrors, watch your six. Cars coming up behind you, you want to make sure that you know, when you're at a traffic stop, a traffic light, you want to make sure that you're in first gear until at least one car comes up behind you, and you can see that if you need to get out of the way, you can get out of the way instead of hitting the throttle when you're in neutral and not going anywhere. You watch behind you, make sure that you can see that. You want to check your mirrors when you're riding. There's so much that you have to look out for, because they're not looking for you. And if you don't, you're going to get hit. And I will finish this as soon as I get Crisis 2 from my PlayStation 3. I'm a happy man. Where was I? Yes, motorcycle safety. I talked about tires, keeping an eye on everyone around you, and gear. So let's see here. So you're watching your six, you're checking your mirrors constantly, and you're keeping an eye out for idiots on the road. People who aren't seeing you, people who don't care to see you, all kinds of different things. It's just, I cannot stress more than enough how important it is to make sure you're keeping an eye on everything, even at stoplights. So we'll move on to our next point. Where's this guy going? See, you got to watch these people. They don't use turn signals and shit. It's ridiculous. All right, here we go. So we've covered those bases. The next thing, this is a real big thing, and I know most people don't do this, at least in the sport bike community. A lot of cruisers do, and I don't understand why. But the next big one is do not drink and ride. They have biker bars out there. Do not drink alcohol and ride your motorcycle. I know it's obvious, you know, you're not supposed to drink and drive. You know, even one drink, one beer. What the fuck is this guy doing? One beer, okay? Even if you're a big hefty man, and you 200-something plus pounds, and you know, you think, oh, one beer ain't gonna hurt. Motorcycling is a lot different than driving in a car. So, see, check your mirror, make sure the person behind you sees you. Oh, I got something in my eye. There we go. But yeah, you really wanna make sure you do not drink and ride. I mean, a little bit of alcohol, any amount, can cause your reaction time to slow down, can cause, you know, all these little minor things. And riding a motorcycle really takes all of your motor skills. So, I mean, you see all these biker bars and all these cruiser guys, mainly. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen with sport riders, but mainly cruiser riders are the guys that do that. But don't do it. If you're gonna drink, you know, take a car. And I'm not advocating drinking and driving, but take a car, go with somebody else, and if you do have to drive, you know, make sure you're limited, of course, use common sense, or if you plan on getting wasted, have someone else drive you. I mean, it's that simple. On a motorcycle, the slightest thing, you know, can screw with you, especially when it has to do with alcohol. You don't want to mess with that. Oh man, it's so beautiful outside today. But yeah, and it's just, you know, always be mindful of what you're doing. You know, you have to pay attention not only to everybody else but yourself. Pay attention to how you're moving with the flow of traffic, your speed, the gear that you're in, and the RPMs of that gear. I mean, after a while, you will become accustomed to your machine, and you will get an idea of where you're at in the RPMs, because you don't want to have to slow down and stop suddenly, and then if you downshift, and then you're all of a sudden you're gonna lock that tire up and you're gonna flip over it. You know, more safety tips: do not cover your front brake. You know, you see guys on YouTube, stunt riders, racers doing it. As a regular motorcycle enthusiast, do not cover your front brake. It's just something that was taught in the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. And the main reason you don't cover your brake is because one of the survival instincts that people have is that if something's going to happen and you're not too happy with it, you freak out. What do? You hit the brake. And if your hand's already on it, you're turning, or if you're in a turn or in a curve, you're going to high side. If you are going straight and you hit that brake hard and you're going at an nominal speed, you're gonna endo. The back end's gonna come up and knock you off the bike. You know, do not cover your brake. You know, it takes an extra second to put your hand on that brake lever, and that extra second could be a second that you think, hey, stupid, don't hit the, you know, don't hit the brake. You know, you have to ride smart. You have to pay attention to what you're doing, pay attention to the people around you, the machine that you're on, make sure the machine, the motorcycle itself is roadworthy. You know, you got to keep up on maintenance. If you don't keep up on maintenance, then, if you don't keep up on maintenance, something's bound to happen, and having a mechanical failure in a car is worse than, or is not as bad as having a mechanical failure on a motorcycle. Because if you have a mechanical failure in a car, you might swerve a little bit, you might, you know, your car might die, and you might end up stranded on the side of the road for a little bit. But on a motorcycle, what is this guy doing? There we go. On a motorcycle, if you do that, there's a good chance it can cause you to fall off. And you really don't want that. You do not want to fall off, especially for something that you're unaware of, such as a malfunction of sorts. Because, I mean, now you got a bike that's screwed up and you fell off. Now you're totally screwed. And you fell off because you didn't take care of your motorcycle. You know, if you love riding and that's what you do, make sure everything is taken care of. But I'm probably about to start rambling, so until next time, I'll see you on the road.